Canto 6. Summary. Still confused and saddened by his conversation with Francesca, our pilgrim awakes and descends to the third circle of hell. He and Virgil are met by the mythical Cerberus, the demon with 3 dog-like heads. He growls at the visitors, a monstrous symbol of gluttony. Virgil quickly picks up some dirt and throws it down the 3 throats, which distracts Cerberus long enough for them to push past. They enter the place where the gluttonous are punished, submerged in filth and sludge. All seem to be empty shells lying buried and indistinguishable in the muck. But one sits up and engages Dante in conversation. It is Ciacco, the Florentine, placed here by Dante for his extravagant eating habits. Dante again feels tremendous pity. He asks Ciacco what the spirit knows about their native city. Ciacco describes the coming conflict that will eventually lead to Dante's exile. Between the years of 1300 and 1302, quote, within 3 years, end quote, the white Guelphs, the, quote, savage sect, end quote, Dante's own party, would defeat the black Guelphs, but the blacks would return with the help of Boniface VIII, who would feign neutrality, quote, straddle the shore, end quote. With their help, the whites would be placed, quote, beneath the heavy weights, end quote, of exile or death. Dante himself would be exiled in 1302. After this, they briefly speak of other famous Florentines who dwell further down in the abyss. We will meet Farinata in Canto 10, Tejaio and Rusticucci in Canto 16, and Mosco in Canto 28. Enrico is not mentioned again, but is probably with Mosco. Refusing to answer any more questions, Ciacco sinks back into the mud. Dante and Virgil move on, discussing the state of these souls after the final judgment. Canto 6. Gluttons. When I came once again to my senses, which closed with pity for the 2 in-laws, who had completely confused me with grief, new torments and new tormented I saw round about me, whichever way I moved and turned around, whichever way I looked. I am in the 3rd circle, where the rule and quality of the rain, eternal, wretched, heavy, and cold, is never new. Heavy hailstones, filthy water, and snow spill downward through the dark and gloomy air. The ground that receives this vents a foul smell. Cerberus, that cruel and deviant beast, barks, canine-like, with 3 different gullets, over the people that are there submerged. His eyes bright vermilion, beard greased and black, his belly broad and nails long and scratching. He claws and flays and quarters the spirits. The rain makes them howl like a pack of dogs. They screen one side from rain with the other, turning often the impious wretches. When Cerberus saw us, that great worm turned, opened his mouths, and showed us all his fangs. Not a single member did he keep still. And my leader stretched out both of his hands, took hold of the earth, and with his fists full he threw it into the ravenous throats. Just like a dog that, eager and barking, is silent once it starts gnawing its food, yapping and nipping only to devour, so were made each of those filthy faces of the demon Cerberus, who thunders at the souls such that they wish to be deaf. Passing through the shaking sludge, beaten down by heavy rain, we stepped over the shapes of souls, so empty and broken they seemed. All those there were stretched out upon the ground, except for one who forced himself to sit, quickly, when he saw us pass before him. "You, who are being led through this hell," he cried, "look at me, try and recognize my face. You were made before I was here unmade." I answered, "The anguish that you suffer, perhaps, is what draws you out of my mind, for it seems that I have never seen you. But tell me who you are, who have been set in such a wretched place, in punishment that, if not the worst, is no less sorry." And he said to me, "Your city, so full of envy the sack by now overflows, maintained me, with her, in the serene life. You citizens called me Ciacco, the pig, because of the damning guilt of my gut. As you see, I am dulled by all this rain. But sad soul though I am, I'm not alone. Everyone is here for the same reason, similar sentence for similar sin. His voice broke off. Dear Chaco, I replied, your grief is so heavy, I want to weep. But tell me, if you know, what will happen to the subjects of that shattered city, if anyone there is just, and say why such disunity has assaulted it? And he to me, after long contention they will come to blood, and the savage sect will drive out the other with much offense. After this, within 3 suns these must fall, and the other will return with the force of one that even now straddles the shore. A long time it will hold its head up high, holding others beneath the heavy weights, however they may weep or feel ashamed. 2 are just, but they are not listened to. Envy, pride, and avarice are 3 sparks that have set aflame the hearts of the rest. He put an end to the heart-rending speech. And I said, I wish that you would teach me once again and make a gift of more words. Farinata, Tejayo, so worthy, Jacopo Rastacucci, Arrigo, Mosca, and the rest who thought to do good. Tell me where they are, that I might see them, for I am pressed by great desire to know, sweetened by heaven or poisoned in hell. They are, he said, among the souls most black. Different guilt weighs on them much further down. If you go down that far, you will see them. But when you return to that sweetest world, I beg of you, remind them all of me. I will answer no more of your questions. His eyes, once straight, turned sinister and bent. Looking once more at me, he bowed his head, falling back with the other blind sinners. And my leader said, He will wake no more till the sound of the angelic trumpet, when he will see the enemy power. Each sinner will see again his sad tomb, taking back both his figure and his flesh, to hear that which thunders eternally. So we passed on through a filthy mixture of the shades and rain with slow, labored steps, touching a little on the future life. Wherefore I said, Master, all these torments, will they increase after final judgment? Will they be less or equally scorching? He said to me, Return to your science, which says the more perfect something becomes, the more it senses good and also pain. Not one of these miserable people will ever attain to true perfection, but they will be closer than they are. We wandered on by the dark rounding road, speaking much more that I do not recount. We came to the point where the road broke off. There we found Plutus, the great enemy.